Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. Take two of trying to get Streamlabs to play ball today. Once again, I will introduce the virtual GT challenge to the stage in a couple of seconds. In the meantime, we're going to hope and pray that transition... Oh, it's worked! It's worked! How are we? How are we? I am wearing my brand new Ross County t-shirt, if you all want to care too much about that. But once again, I am joined by the virtual GT challenge team here. That includes Kieran, who is the owner. We've got Ethan, who's one of the admins. We've got Alex, who's one of the senior admins. And we've got Marcus, who is one of the drivers. Welcome to the stage, guys. How are we?
Not too bad, bud. Yourself?
Do you know, things have been better, especially when Streamlabs works. But yeah, I'm so glad that you can join me. I understand that it was a little bit off the cuff being here today, last minute. You know, that's the way I roll, unfortunately. Try to be organised, but it never works. But a little bit about these guys would be appreciated. I don't know, Kieran, do you want to introduce a little bit about your league to everyone in International Paddock?
Yeah, 100%. VGT, Virtual GT World Challenge in some cases. We are a Assetto Corsa console-based league. To be completely honest with you, we try and replicate what we can in real life. So what you see in real life is what we try and replicate in our league. We've only been active for about a month. We haven't started our first race yet. But I have previously owned other leagues, so in all fairness, we are as professional as they come. With our first round coming around the corner at Misano in Italy, we have a full grid, hopefully signed up. I mean, we have got 26 out of 25 drivers available to us. Now, we are taking it every single step of the ways in ways of professionalism. Realistic weather, so whatever the weather is on the day, we will be using in the race. We will have a 30-minute practice, a 30-minute qualifying, and then an hour's race with one mandatory pit stop. So we are aiming for as much professionalism as possible. Now, anyone is welcome, because in the long runs, we do have dreams and aspirations. Of course, we do. Every league does. We would like to open up a GT4 series in the long run, but yes, our league is welcome to all. We don't discriminate. We're a friendly family of guys who generally work day in, day out to provide the best welcoming space for any sim or amateur racer out there.
That's perfect. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you very much for that, Kieran. So, a very interesting concept that has been done multiple times. Something that is very much done in real life. From my point of view, I think, from what I've seen and from what you've shown me, is that you guys are really looking forward to starting this league. How do you guys feel that you're literally only 1 week away from having your first race? It would have been done, actually, next Thursday, the 4th of July is the first one. So how does that feel?
Well, personally, I think Marcus can answer that. We're staff. We've been preparing for it, but Marcus, you're one of our drivers. How do you feel?
Yeah, totally excited. I was dragged into this actually by one of your admins, and he just told me like the outlines of this whole league, and I got hooked immediately. So I'm totally looking forward to get tires squealing and engines roaring next week.
Hell yeah, that's what we like to hear, brother. That's fantastic. So we're happy with everything that's been done in the league so far, I would assume. If you're feeling comfortable and confident, I would say. Would you agree with me on that, Marcus?
Totally agree. Totally agree with you.
Perfect. So, when it comes to setting up something like this, how much time does it actually take? And I think that's more aimed at the senior staff here, but between you, how much effort is gone into this?
Well, to be fair, all three of us could answer this, but I'll say my part first. To be fair, we thought it was going to take longer. I had delayed it to the 4th of July, thinking that's how long it was going to take. But having a great staff team actually managed to push it to the point where we were ready to go 2 weeks ago. But we couldn't cater for that because there was no point early starting and redoing everything that we've already done to cater for 2 weeks ago. So we've held off. We've recruited more. We've got the hype going. I think everybody's ready to go. And yeah, I mean, Alex has been absolutely great. I mean, Alex, what do you think, man? How much do you reckon we put into this?
Easily. We put most of our time in, like, we've always been trying to get people into this sort of racing. We've wanted to push it, and now we've got a base of where we want people to actually start go racing. So now everyone's eager, everyone's ready. Just a matter of time now before we fully get going.
Fantastic. I love that. I feel like, for me, that I share a common goal with you on that, because for me, for so long, I prefer racing GT cars. I feel like it's a more enjoyable form of racing than actually having to sit down and practice for an F1 race that's ultimately going to go wrong because somebody doesn't know how to brake for T1 at Monza. Whereas in a GT race, someone might not brake for turn 1, you have damage, right? But you've still got, by the time you come back at the pitch, you've still got like 55 minutes left to make up places, because other people are going to crash, other people are going to mess up, and I always find it so much more fun in places like Monza, Zolder, places where people do get pinch pointed and taken out, and you don't know where you're going to be after turn 1, to actually come out on top, and you can get your elbows out in GT racing as well, without someone getting so angry at you and trying to send you into a wall at Kota or somewhere similar to that. So I share that common goal. I have raced in endurance racing myself in the past. I own a team I own a share in QRT with International Paddock's Team Alba 43 car that is run the site occasionally at special events of QRTs, and I know for a fact that personally that GT racing should be for everyone to share. So I really like that we've got a common goal there as well. Now, recently it's been released out the streaming order at which everything's done on a Thursday. How happy are you guys to be featured on this channel, this very channel, the original International Paddock channel, should we say?
I think I can quite gladly, as owner, and also from all staff and the drivers in this league, it was an absolute astonishing announcement to come out of nowhere and say, look, we are being front-lined by International Paddock. I mean, you're getting the best of the best. I mean, we've spoke about it. We won't go into full depths, but when arranging this league with you guys, we're aiming for professionalism, and I honestly think we can get that here in International Paddock. I mean, the scenes that will be created, the racing that's going to be there, and every single camera and portrait that's going to be available for everyone to see is just fantastic. But we'd just have to see. I mean, I've not actually listened to what other staff or drivers think about it. But Al, what do you think, man? Because this is probably one of the biggest things that we've had.
Yeah, it's very key, and we are proud to be with this partnership. With the driving, a lot of the drivers are going to be happy about potentially showing off the skills, showing off the team liveries, potential talking to the community, spreading the word. All in all, it's just a great movement for us.
I'm so glad that you guys think that, because we look forward to having you guys there. I think Marcus was wanting to share something there, so I'll let him do that as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I can only, of course, speak for the driver's side, but it's a great opportunity for us because most of the time we race like in our own little bubble. But this way we can actually share this with our friends and family and just like make it more broader available to much more people.
And I'm glad you say that actually, Marcus, because someone who hasn't spoken yet, who's Ethan, who I am going to give the chance to speak, because this community opens up a new door to a lot of people, and I'm going to say it because it is the truth. Ethan, who is one of our admins and drivers, he is he's a very young driver, not a legal young driver, but he's a young driver, and he actually suffers with autism as well. And we cure that by giving him the opportunity to race every 2 weeks, to take everything that's on his shoulders off of his shoulders. And I mean, Ethan, come on, now's your time, buddy. You can talk and say how this league actually makes you feel.
It really helps with my mental health. It just gives you that break every 2 weeks, just to
And that's where we'll draw the line, because he's lagging.
go.
He's lagging a bit. Oh, he's back. He's not. Don't stress about that. We'll maybe get to hear a little bit more from him in a bit. It's probably just the fact that he's on his mobile.
It is just incredible, though. I mean, he's been. I mean, Al can vouch for me. He's been in 4 of our previous series, and he's grown as an absolute character. When me and Al first found him, obviously we didn't know he had autism back then, and he was very mouthy. He was very unsettled, and he was a troubled child. Now, I mean, he's fast, he's quick, he's picked a lot up off of all the other drivers. He's so much more sensible. He's so professional in everything that he does now. It's just quality. It is absolute quality to watch someone who never touched sim racing and never had a how do I put it, a social background into this stuff grow. It's one of the most satisfying things to ever watch, and it is brilliant. And I mean, Al, you can vouch for me here. He's gone from back of the pack, mouthy, to front of the pack, and the most kindest person you could ever see. And it's brilliant to watch.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's like like you said, when we first picked him up, nowhere near the quality of driver he is now. Now you're looking at him, he's probably one of the scariest drivers to come against.
I'm so glad that he's found an outlet. Many of us go to sim racing to help us with our head. I turned to sim racing when I was really depressed. Personally, myself, I had really bad experiences where I was really down, and I just needed an outlet to come in and just have a bit of fun, to focus my mind on something else that isn't my life, and just have a bit of fun. So I purchased the same wheel that I still race on today, just a Thrustmaster TMX, nothing special at all, and I built my whole entire life around that. And then after that, I started to move away and do other things that interested me. And I used sim racing for so long as an outlet for me personally, as someone who sat in a place where he wasn't happy with how he perceived his life, and managed to shape something out of it. And I'm so glad that someone else has found that as well and done something with it, because that to me makes me feel happy that sim racing can be used by other people, not just myself. So that's fantastic to hear. Now you've got a considerable grid. I believe you've got, from what I was looking at, from what I had a look at in the staff chat earlier, well maybe actually, hold on, that's wrong, I didn't mean to do that, apologies. I forgot that I was sharing my screen there for a second, but the staff room for me, like, I've seen everything, your driver lineups coming through, you've got, what is it, 26, 28 drivers signed up ready to race, including reserves.
Correct. That's correct. Yes. We feel, and we know this for a fact, and it is something that other leagues don't take on. It's always good to have for example, when we last updated the driver list, it was 26 out of 25. Now, that one person will sit there and go, "Oh, how am I going to race? Am I a reserve?" No, you're not. And the reason he's not a reserve and won't be listed as a reserve is because we all know, and this is a true fact, that everyone who sim races doesn't know what's around the corner. You could be working, you could be having your child for the weekend, which then opens up an availability. Now, I can almost assure you, and this is a fact across all sim races as far as I'm concerned, that you will not get a full grid every single week. And that is exactly why I will not bring reserves in until that is a possibility. So we will be over lined up. We will have more drivers than we need to, but that is because I fearlessly do believe that we won't have 25 out of 25 drivers week in, week out. But having them extra numbers, it can make it a possibility.
100%. And the great thing is as well is that you have opened that possibility for people to drive, and maybe not labelling them as reserves, but creating an opportunity for them to show their skills to potentially get a seat if somebody no longer can take part in the competition. So I think that's a fantastic way of doing it. It's a different take on it. Most people just label them as reserves and get on with it. But I actually like the fact that it is oversubscribed to the sense where there's a few extra drivers that can fill the boots.
100%. I mean, the second you list someone down as a reserve, they lose interest anyway. Because they've signed up to race, and if they don't have that opportunity to race and you're listing them down as a reserve, they feel like, what's the point? Let's go somewhere else. We don't do that here. We don't do that at VGT. If there is a spare spot on the track, you will take it regardless. There will be no reserve listings here. I mean, technically, you would be a reserve, but you aren't listed down as that, and we wouldn't call you a reserve because it is unfair. We know full fact, and I know this for a fact, that in 2 weeks' time, I could be working late. I could have my daughter. There's a seat opening. Like I said, there is a lot of leagues on this planet that do, but 9 times out of 10 they don't have a full attendance week in, week out, and them drivers will cater for them spots. And that there is exactly why I won't list them down as a reserve. They will sign up as a normal person and sign in like a normal person.
That's fantastic. I think that's the best way to do it as well. And I agree that you'll never ever get a full grid. I don't think that's like, maybe for the first few races that you might have a few people turn up that have already signed up and they were already allocated seats and teams. But then after that, people's life their life will get in the way, and that's just how it goes. Especially starting in the summer, a lot of leagues struggle with that in the summer when they get into, they have like a few weeks off or something. They do a few races, and then after that they realise that their shifts clash with their racing, so real life has to take priority, because if you can't do your real life, unfortunately the racing can't happen either, and that's how it is, because you have to pay your bills, you have to do this, you have to do that. I wish life would just be simpler, that you could just pay for everything through racing, and then that way you didn't have to worry about it. But
I think sim racing was a job.
Yes. But 100% I agree in everything that you've said. I've got a couple more questions, and then we'll see if there's any. Sambo's in the chat right now. He's one of the big boys in International Paddock. See if he'll maybe want to ask a few questions himself in the chat for you guys to answer. But anyway, so you've got a lot of experience, so you understand the landscape. Now you're doing ACC on Xbox. How do you feel that may affect your decision making with coming to the midpoint in the season? Do you feel like because you're on Xbox you might have limitations, or do you feel like you've limited that and thought about that before you set this up?
We have 100% tackled that. I mean, me and Alex have both tackled that along with the rest of the staff. The bonus with ACC is that it is cross-play across new generations. Now, that is a bonus because some of our staff own PS, some of our staff own Xbox. So when it does become bleak, which actually personally I don't think it will happen, because we're continuously sharing and we're continuously promoting for new drivers, whether we need them or not. I don't think it will happen, because the second we start running low, I know that my staff will pick the ball up and run with it, and that is exactly what's needed in a league to keep the momentum going. And you need to keep the hype there. I think that's one of the most important things. If you're not hyping up your own server, then you won't get anyone in. I mean, take this for example. We set up our socials 2 weeks ago. I'm really good at designing, so I designed a poster for our league that had over 2,000 interactions on Facebook. Now, okay, we didn't pull in 2,000 people, but it just goes to show that if you share enough, you can get over 1,000 people looking at your post, and all it takes is one person to go, oh, actually, maybe that is a good idea. And I would rather take an oh, actually than oh, okay, I'll do it, but then never turn up.
Yeah.
So that is why we take on and continuously share and continuously promote, because I would rather have someone who says oh maybe but always attends than someone that signs up and is just inactive all the time.
100%. I agree. I will take that, because for me, and Sam's actually said it as well here, it's nice for those on console who perhaps don't have a PC. And it's so true, because a lot of people don't have the money to shell out on a top-end gaming PC and may never will have that money. So giving the opportunity for drivers on Xbox who have a decent setup on Xbox but can't afford a PC to show their skills, and maybe one day, someone might come along and offer them a PC on the cheap and say, listen, if you can get up to pace on PC, I'll give you a deal. And I have seen it happen. I don't know if you know the F1 driver Thomas Ronhar, who was under
I
a
do.
lot of flack. Now, he raced in a couple of leagues that I had been associated with in the past, and he never ever had the money behind him, and he went on to be one of the most controversial but successful drivers in the F1 series on esports, because he got the opportunity to share his ability with everyone on the big stage, because someone offered him a deal that allowed him to get a PC to be able to do those things. And I think that to me, as someone sitting in the background and watching these drivers develop around me, it's a great opportunity, and you can't turn these things down, even if you're just racing for a bit of fun, but it makes so much more sense to start somewhere that's affordable than just think, oh, I have to be on PC to start racing.
100%.
You can race anywhere.
And another good thing to that, I mean, a couple more staff members and drivers have joined, so this interview could get very interesting now. Another point to that, and I have to say it as it is see, I own a PC and a console, both consoles, so I can branch out everywhere. But with what you've just said is 100% nail on the head, because I speak to someone who maybe some of you might know. His name's called Lee Duncan, and he started on Gran Turismo. He has now been signed by Unlimited Motorsport in the British touring cars. Now, he races for them on Gran Turismo, and they offered him a PC so that he can branch out on Race Factor. But not only did they offer him that, he was doing so well on both platforms that they've actually offered him a seat in the 2025 British Touring Car Championship in real life.
That's
Now,
fantastic.
there is only a handful of drivers I know that have made it from sim racing into real life motorsport. But it just goes to show that a lot of people out there sit there, and I know this for a fact, will go, oh, well, sim racing won't get me anywhere. Well, if you focus on it, and I understand real life comes first, but if you focus on it and make it part of your life, you will go somewhere, and that's a complete fact. I myself, without tooting my own horn, am a independent championship for the virtual British touring cars, and the recognition I got in my first season there is just undoubtedly insane. I'm sponsored by Motor. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and it can happen. You've just got to stick to your guns, put the time in, show that you're progressing. And I think one of the most important things when you are a sim racer is definitely sharing your platform. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people, and I completely get it, it's preference. A lot of people generally just turn up, race, have fun, and leave. And that's fine, because you don't have to take it seriously. Of course you don't. It's just a bit of fun at the end of the day. But for those that do take it seriously, share their stories, branch out, show the whole world what they've got, and definitely move up in the world.
Great. That's great. And I think that covered that question so well. I think for many, having the ability to have an outlet of stress, of how they feel daily, on something that they can take all that stress away and just focus on something, because a lot of stress comes from overstimulation from multiple accounts, multiple places, essentially barraging you with information at once, and that's normally how a lot of stress comes, and it can create massive issues in your life. But the great thing about sim racing is, when you race, you don't think about anything else other than you driving a car around a circuit and avoiding killing everybody else on the track, but you're trying to do it quickly. And that's enough information being barraged in your head that the adrenaline sometimes is enough to get rid of the stress of the day. And I think that that's so true through everything. And I will always say now that no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you've got to start first to be able to know how good you are. And I'm just going to open up the floor now, because we obviously had, I think there was another driver that joined. He's no longer in the chat, but we've got Chris. He's joined. I'm assuming he's an admin as well. And I was wondering how he feels about everything and how excited he is for the season.
Yeah, excuse for a bit of the background noise. I'm super excited. Currently, I am admin here doing the server. So I'm in charge of getting entry lists ready so that when people sign up, it's their actual name shown. And yeah, just adjusting to getting the weather right, getting certain settings correct has been quite interesting. And I'm stoked. I really cannot wait to get it underway. I think we've got a lot of things ready to get going. And I think the last mix in the ingredients is the drivers, and hopefully we can get enough committed drivers that we get a nice championship battle due to people committing to every race being there rather than a championship decided by absences.
100%. And that's how it should be. I cannot wait to see those final 6 races where everybody at that point is now on the edge of their seat because every race matters. And I'm not saying I'm not looking for the first few races in the calendar. I think there's, how many races? Was there just the 6 on this championship, or is it the 12?
There's more than 6, so
Yeah.
I think there is 11 or 12.
11 or 12, yeah. Because I had it in my head that it was going to be, essentially, it's going to be a 24 weeks spell of pure action and racing, so I cannot wait to see this. And I think once you get down to those final 6 races, people start understanding where they are in the standings. They know that they need to put mega shifts in if they're in 6th or in 7th. They need to be finishing in the high points. They can't be sitting back and watching everybody else pass them. They've actually got to make attacking and defensive moves. In the first few races, I think we're going to see some sussing out between each other. There may be the odd door banging moment. There may be the odd, right, can I leave you space, or are you going to just take that space and run with it, you know? And I can't wait to see that, because I've seen this happen, and it's all about sussing out how much you can drive to your limits against others. And I cannot wait to see that happen. I think we've got time now to see if there's anybody in the chat. I know there's not many of you because it is pretty much 3 o'clock on a on a Friday. Most people will be still finishing work. But to anyone in the chat right now, if you've got any questions for these wonderful people that I am chatting to, feel free to fire them in while I ask my last question. Now, this is a bit of a big one for me, because I think everyone here is, you know, stoked to have you within International Paddock. Are you excited to see what International Paddock can do for you in the long run, where we've got so much planned in the next 6 months to a year that hopefully we can get you guys involved? Are you excited?
We are. I mean, I don't think any of them know this yet, but I understand that you guys run your own races as well now and then, a little cup for the leagues that you run. I mean, we were going to take part in the last one, which wasn't with you guys, but it was with someone who directed me to you guys. But we didn't have the game that they were trying to facilitate at the time. Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked. I mean, myself and yourself, when we spoke about getting this thing ready, was speaking about realism. We were speaking about certain things that would make this diverse and bring what is a realistic aspect to this. You know, I mean, we spoke about certain camera angles and interviews whilst them camera angles are on. It is things like that is going to bring the excitement and diversity into VGT here. That's just me speaking for myself. I'm absolutely stoked. I can't wait to get everything ready for the first race underway and just see what happens. I mean, we've done a couple of test races. Chris here has done some lovely work with the server, getting people in to do some friendly races just to see what they've got. And I have to be honest, yes, I'm rapid, and I probably will be in the top 10. But there is a lot of drivers in that could potentially throw a curveball, and it's absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a hell of a lot of the same manufacturer across the grid, but it is diverse. I mean, we've got a couple of Aston Martins, we've got a couple of Ferraris. It's crazy, McLarens, Porsches. It's going to be an absolute hell of a season. And for the drivers that joined, I'm really excited for them as well to be able to sit back, reflect on the stream that has just taken place, if not live, and just absolutely love and take in the atmosphere that you guys will be creating for us. I think one of the main key features, and it is something that I think all of us drivers do, everybody does, and even staff members, is they go back over the stream and see what they could do better. We'll reflect on that and keep moving. And overall, I do believe by the end of season 1, we would have had such a great home run through the whole season that we would definitely do season 2, and vice versa, keep going until we just keep going. I mean, I don't have any plans in future to ever end this display that we are doing. We've hit the ground running. We've got our foundation up. The walls have gone up. People have came in, enjoyed it, put their legs up, and put the fire on. I think this is an absolute great place to start, and I do think that once round 1 rolls round and we are racing, me and my staff and the drivers can sit there and say, "Thank God we've done this." That's my point of view on it. I mean, my staff members are welcome to put their piece in as well, but that's how I see it. I see it as we've hit the ground running. Everything's gone perfect so far. Don't get me wrong. We are ready, and we are here to see some setbacks. It always happens. We will get knocked back eventually, but we will just battle through it. Well, I've got a great staff team. I've got some great racers. I've got some great people in our family here, and hopefully we can just keep pushing to be, I've got to say it, one of, if not the best virtual GT championship out there, especially on console.
I love that. Fantastic. Anyone else want to chime in? Anyone else?
I'll say a few words. Going back to where you said how you reckon we can benefit you and you can benefit us, it'll be more of the fact, like, so you've obviously given us that extra boost now to get ourselves out there, whilst we've also given you the experience of our drivers.
Is there a continuation on that, or
I don't know.
Al, you have disappeared?
I am left.
I think I know where. I think I know where he was going with it.
I get what he means. Yeah.
I think he's saying that you'll see how we perform, and we can put on a show for you guys as well, which will also bring in the extras for yourself. Don't know whether that is exactly what he was going to say, but that kind of, to me, was where he was going with it. I mean, we're both doing each other a solid here. Technically, if we hit the ground running and our drivers are performing the way they should be, and obviously from your guys' point of view, it's viewed spectacularly, then 100% both of us here could profit absolutely spectacularly.
100%. And the thing that I always like to point out to a lot of our fans and a lot of the people that are returning to International Paddock this season to watch racing all through our calendars that we cover is that you don't just have to watch that one league. If you're bored one night, flick us on. We'll have something on for you. We have coming up over the next few months, we have pretty much every night viewable, bar Saturday nights. Every night there is something on at 8 p.m. on all of our, on at least this channel. and then a lot of the stuff as well will be put on International Paddock Extra, and I cannot wait to be able to share all of this with you guys. We've got so much in the works. We've got a lot of information to share with everyone, and it's going to be so good to see how everyone performs on track. It's been so hyped, and I cannot wait to hype this more in the next few weeks as well as we get through our first round. I will be catching a lot of the drivers after the first round to get their experiences, speak to a few of the staff, and get their accounts on how the first round went for them. Anyway, guys, I think that's all we've got time for today with VGT. I will be back live with you guys again in approximately half an hour's time, where we'll be bringing to you the team of UCR. Jamie O'Connor will be here. Unfortunately, Kieran can't join us because he is working Glastonbury, but we will have a few other people hopefully joining us for an interview as well from UCR. Anyway, guys, thank you very much to the boys here at VGT, including Kieran, Marcus, Chris, Alex, and anyone else that jumped in and had a nice chat with us as well. And thank you to you guys for watching. We'll see you all on Thursday. Oh, what was that?
I was just saying, no, thank you.
Good. I'm glad that you guys all here enjoyed this. We'll see you all live here on International Paddock at 8 PM on Thursday night for the first round of the Virtual GT World Challenge, all streamed live on this channel every 2 weeks. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all in approximately half an hour's time for UCR. Stick around.
I don't think any. Could you